Have you ever logged onto either Twitch or maybe even YouTube to check out some World of Warships content, and you've seen how differently some people's game looks compared to yours? Have you ever wondered what kind of mods might they be running, or even just what those mods are even called? Well, today I'm going to go through my full personal list of mods that I recommend every player should be using, and thanks to some feedback from you guys in previous years, I'm going to split this video up into 3 distinct sections. The first one is going to be regarding mods that everyone should 110% be using, in my opinion. Mods that I use for myself that I find just help me, but they are not crucial for all players. And then I'm going to run through how to set up inside of the game itself some of the mods and configure them to your liking. So, without any further ado, let's get stuck right into this. The first thing that you're going to want to do is to go ahead and download and install Aslain's mod pack. I recommend using Aslain's compared to the official World of Warships mod station because this is generally updated a lot faster. You have a lot more options in terms of different mods, and it's just a better mod pack in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with using mod station, but just so you know, any mod that's also found in Aslain's is also 100% safe, verified by Wargaming to be A-OK for the game, so you don't have any concerns about whether a mod is legal or illegal. You can find a lot of the mods here as well on mod station, but as I said, this is generally updated a lot faster and you have a lot more options for you to be able to use. So as you go to this page here, it'll be linked down in the description. You go ahead and click on the blue link there where it says to download it, and essentially just got to wait here for the actual file to download. Once the file is downloaded, what you're going to go ahead, just go to wherever your downloads folder is located and pretty much just open the file straight away. Once you're at the screen here, don't be too alarmed. This is just saying Windows just doesn't recognize who the publisher is. Just hit more info, run anyway, and then another pop-up will appear here. I can't actually show it because OBS wouldn't let me record it, but it's just saying, hey, Windows is seeing that this application wants to make changes to your PC. Hit next, and you'll come to this screen here where you can start selecting the installation language. In this case, I'm going to select it for English because, well, I'm an English speaker. Just going to wait a second now. It's going to initialize, so just don't be afraid if that disappears for a second. It's going to check for some updates, and we come to the screen. Make sure you hit the checkbox that's down the bottom there, and it says show preview window. You want to be able to click that so you get a bit of an idea of the mod you're going to be installing. Go through these next couple of menus. It's going to tell you about some of the latest updates, etc. Hit next, until you come to this next screen here, which is just checking, hey, do you want to be installing for the correct game version? Make sure it's installed for all the warships, and then here we go, and we can start talking about the mods right now. So, starting off with is going to be part 1 here, which is talking about the mods that I recommend all players should be running in this game. Pretty much all the time, if you guys can afford to do so. Now, feel free to agree or disagree with me down in the comments, but the first one I'm going to start off here is going to be talking about the speed indicator. Basically, it shows you as a circle around the target enemy ship, the speed and direction they're going. And direction here is just referring to are they going forwards or are they going backwards. And the more full the circle is, the faster speed they're going. It's useful to see if someone's slowing down or accelerating, in my opinion. The next one here is going to be the spotted indicator, and I like this one particularly for more team player oriented purposes. So for example, a friendly destroyer suddenly gets detected, you can work out pretty easily, is that like an enemy radar ship, or is that possibly an enemy destroyer or a submarine or something along those lines that's actually detecting them. Quite useful, especially if you want to be able to make some plays based on, say, when a radar has been popped. Next one here is going to be the smoke marker, and I think the main benefit behind this one is not necessarily the markers in the 3D space there, but it's actually seeing smoke being deployed on the minimap. I do like to see where smoke is being deployed, and it does kind of help you get a bit of an idea as to how far away somebody might be. And yeah, it's just a nice one that I like to use. The next one we're going to be talking about here is going to be the advanced torpedo marker, and basically when you're fighting a submarine, it will change the marker and let you know basically when the torpedo stops on you. So for anyone that's trying to work out how to best dodge submarine torpedoes, this one is definitely there to help you. Now, in previous years, I've recommended using the minimap by battle frame, but this is the single biggest change I'm making to my list this year, and it is going to be recommending the minimap by Taro. He has done an amazing job with making so many mods, and this one pretty much takes all the best features out of multiple of these different mods and integrates it all together, and you can customize this quite heavily, and he has a pretty easy optional menu in here as well to be able to adjust all of the mods that you do see that are made by Taro. I will be running through this at the end of the video in part 3 about how you can, where the option is and how you can adjust some of those settings, but 110%, if you liked using, say, the mini map by battle frame in the past, switch over to Taro. It's the most up-to-date one. It's got a lot more features, and I just recommend it for everybody. You got a lot more customization, and Taro's done an absolutely fantastic job. So that's the mod I do recommend you guys to be using for minimaps this year. Following on from the advanced torpedo marker earlier, this one is another one that I really like to have, especially when dealing with submarines, and that shows you a ping in the 3D space as well on the minimap there about where enemy submarines sent a sonar ping from. It's quite useful and especially helps you pinpoint their location a little bit easier, considering the marker from Wargaming isn't the greatest or most intuitive in the world. This one just helps make it just that little bit more clearer, and that's why I do recommend using this one. The next one here is going to be Battle Expert. Now there's a few different options that you guys can use. I've been running Battle Expert V3, but basically it helps you identify what's the angling between your ship and the enemy ship, because sometimes, and I've been deceived by this a few times because well, I'm slightly dumb, but the angle of an enemy ship in the 3D space may not look quite the same as what you actually think it is, and that's why I've just been liking to use Battle Expert here, just because it makes just that bit clearer about, hey, when can I use my improved AP on my Des Moines, for example, and when I should probably continue sticking with my high explosive. The next one here is definitely a fan favorite of mine, and it is the module state viewer. Basically, when you press down Alt, it'll tell you how much HP each of your main batteries and your torpedo tubes have. This one is really quite useful. Obviously, if you've got turrets that keep getting disabled, just to keep seeing how much HP you've got left on those. But if you're somebody who loves playing destroyers, it's quite useful to know how much torpedo tubes you have going into each match, because, well, unfortunately, Wargaming does it a very interesting way where torpedo HP is randomized each time you enter a game. So, it does help a little bit just to work out, hey, are my torpedo tubes likely to break after taking a single HE salvo from somebody or not? So that's the reason I like running this mod. 3D radar is one I've actually been a fan of for a long while actually, and being able to physically see where someone's radar range is in the 3D space as your ship is actually quite useful to have. And especially when you're doing some team play, hell, even doing competitive as well, I find this one to be really quite nice. You can actually see it in a physical space. You can see when their radar is going to expire, because it does give you a bit of like a flashing cooldown as well. This one's great. I really enjoy using 3D radar. Intuitions is one I've come to greatly appreciate lately as well, and it basically tells you how many people have got radio location on your ship at any given moment, basically. So for example, if there's I've run into a situation like this before, where there's you're playing a Clan Wars game and you have 4 enemy ships on the enemy team, all have RPF, and they're all focused on you. It'll tell you, hey, there's 4 RPF on the enemy team. And that's quite useful to have, in my opinion, just so you get a bit of an idea, hey, how many people actually might know where I am. This one is by far the single most important mod, I would say, for any player, regardless of everything else you use, and that's score timer. Being able to accurately tell, hey, is my team in the lead, or is my team need to actually push forward to get some more points at any single given moment in the match is a huge factor for all of this. This mod is absolutely brilliant. It is a staple in competitive for whenever people are doing casting or even playing themselves. I recommend you guys should be running this one. It makes a world of difference being able to know what kind of plays you can make. Shot timer as well is one I'm a big fan of. Being able to accurately see a countdown of from when you last fired as to when you will go undetected is something that I really quite enjoy using. Now, sure, not every single player may need this, especially if you're a highly skilled player. You probably already know the 20 seconds and what that feels like. For me though, I really like having it as a visual indicator on the screen, and that's why I actually do recommend it just for all players regardless. Being able to see it written there in front of your face makes it just so much easier to work around and stuff. But that's just my opinion, so let me know if you do like using that one or not. In a similar vein, I also really like using radar timer. Being able to show you exactly how long you've been under radar duration for is quite invaluable. So for example, you're within the radar ranges of, say, a couple of enemy ships, so for example a Des Moines and a enemy Moskva, or even a Des Moines and an enemy Petro. Being able to see how long each of those radars go for exactly is actually quite nice, because sometimes if you're in the heat of a moment you can get distracted. But if you're a good player, probably have those numbers like kind of tuned already, but still it's very nice to have that on-screen countdown, in my opinion. If you've ever wanted to look at a particular premium ship or something that you couldn't ever find in the game, this mod here will help you be able to look at any ship that's currently within the game files. I really like this one because sometimes you might just want to check out the armor profile of a particular ship, or have a look at how the model of a particular ship that might be coming to the game. This one is absolutely fantastic because it shows you literally every single ship inside of the game, and I mean, it's cool to be able to check out some of those ships and some of their base stats when they're available. So for example, I don't have, say, Smarland. I like to be able to go in and take a look at some of the ship's statistics, or even the visual model, even though I don't have it and can't buy it. This one is a quality of life improvement, and essentially it enables you to just, while the game goes ahead and it automatically collects your containers for you. You can select which type of container you want to auto collect for you as soon as you reach the required experience threshold in the day, and it will just put into your port. So for me, I always set it to collect more coal containers. As soon as I reach each of the experience requirements, it automatically puts a coal container into my port and redeems it for me. Of course, I can open it at any chance I want to, but it will take it and it'll be sitting there inside of my port for me, which I really do like. And the final one here is actually a map specific one, but have you ever played on Faroe Islands and noticed how absurd the glare is on that map? This one helps tune that down quite significantly and makes it a lot easier to see. So this one is just, yeah, this one's quite a necessity in my opinion. And I do think Wargaming could adjust the map in terms of the visual, because that glare is quite insane. On to the second part here, and we're going to just talk about the remaining mods that I like to use. And I actually, yeah, as stated here, they're just my additional favorite mods that I like to use. And one of the nice things about Aslain's modpack is once you've got all your mods selected, you just download the new version each patch, and hey, your ones are automatically selected each time. So yeah, let's just talk about the other mods that I like to personally run. If you've got any mods that I'm not running here, do let me know down in the comments. I'd be curious to see what other mods you guys run in comparison to what I'm running. So let's get on with this, shall we? The first one here is going to be the team panels by Taro, and I do quite like having all the options here for extended team lists, being able to see some of the different information there, and because this one's actually a bit more accurate compared to the one provided by Wargaming. So this one I do recommend people to be running. Following on from that, we have Team HP Plus. I do like to have that visual indicator there of how much HP our team has versus how much HP the enemy team has, and it can lead you to dictate what kind of engagements and stuff you can take. Is your team down significantly on HP? Maybe you should probably hold off on making that risky play. If you're well ahead of HP, you might be able to go in for a bit of a brawl and get away with it without significantly impacting your team if it doesn't go according to plan. Consumables monitor is one I like to run as well. Being able to see when your allies consumables come on and off cooldown and when they're actually being run is a bit of a useful tool to play around with. So for example, you're wanting a radar from your friendly Des Moines or something on your team, you have a look over and oh wait, he's already used his radar, it's still on cooldown for another 35 seconds. Having that kind of information on hand can help you to decide whether or not you should make those kind of plays. Doesn't stop players from not helping you, but at least it means you won't be running in when you know they don't have a radar active at all to help you. Regen monitor is just a nice one to have, just to see, hey, how much can your allies actually heal back potentially? Can they heal like up to 50, 60, 70% of their HP, or they only got 1 to 2 heals left and they can only heal back like 5% of their HP? Having that information is just a nice thing to have on hand. Torpedo detection indicator is another one I like to have, because it'll give you a bit of an idea as to, as soon as an enemy ship does detect a torpedo, as to when they're probably going to start turning it to avoid that. And if you're shooting at them or trying to do something else, being able to play around when you know they're going to start turning is something useful to have. Now, I will keep in mind, this one does not take into account if they have hydro active. It'll only be showing as the torpedo being detected when the ship itself spots it, not if the ship is spotting the torpedo with hydro or something. So keep that in mind. That is something very, very important to consider. The advanced detention marker is, if you're pinging, particularly in competitive gameplay, being able to accurately ping and look in the 3D space where a ping is being placed. I like having this one, and for that very particular reason. I'm a very particular person. If I see a ping, I will go exactly to where that ping is. So being able to see where it is in the three-dimensional space, that is very, very useful for someone like me. Now, this one I like is called Improved Chat, and basically it helps tell you who's chatting in both your team and the enemy team. So for example, in the example on screen there, you can see, hey, a friendly Yoshino is typing in chat and what their player's username is. It saves you having to work out who's typing, and then you look at the team list and try and find the username to find what ship they're in, yada, yada, yada. It's just a nice thing to have, to be able to quickly identify, hey, what ship are they playing, etc. Now, this one I like to run personally because when I stream on Twitch, you can find my link down below in the description. Sometimes people ask me, hey, what build are you actually running? And I'm able to quickly showcase what the build is for my ship. It's sometimes funny to look at your allies' team builds. It's kind of depressing at the same time, so bear that in mind, but it can be for an interesting experience. Keep in mind, it will not show you what an enemy player's team build is, so only yourself and your allies can see, or well, only yourself and any allies on your team that you look at with that mod you can see what the builds are. 3D RPF is basically, as you can see there in the mod, it shows you your RPF in a three-dimensional space. This one I kind of fluctuate a little bit. Sometimes I love using it, sometimes I don't really use it. It just depends on your wants and needs, basically. If you like having that marker there all the time in the 3D space, cool, you can run it. If you don't, just disable it. It's simple as that, really. 3D Hydro is the exact same thing as 3D Radar before. Apart from it just shows it for the hydroacoustic search consumable instead. This one you can obviously, once we go to part 3, we can show you all of the different settings and stuff for that. But this one is quite nice to have, although I think having the radar is much more important compared to the hydro. AFK monitor. Being able to see when someone in your team or even the enemy team has either disconnected or not quite joined into the game yet can prove to be advantageous, particularly on your team. If you can see that someone has not joined the game yet, it does help you dictate some plays and like how you probably should approach some engagements. It's yeah, I do like having that just for that extra little bit of information, particularly when you can see that someone is clearly AFK, and it's just the way that it is sometimes. It's also kind of funny. What do I mean? Particularly if you come to the end of let's say a competitive match and you suddenly see an enemy team start all turning orange because they've left the game via AFK monitor, you know you've made them mad, and I find that quite funny. This one is more for if you want to have like a specific number just to work out, hey, what's the reaction time of your torpedo? And basically that just means is how long it's going to take it from the torpedo detection range before it hits the enemy ship, and how long players have to react to that, basically. It's a nice thing to just have written there if you want to know the specific numbers. Not crucial. I mean, you can get a workout for the feeling of it anyways, but if you want to see the hard and fast numbers, there it is, written for you in front of your face. Fighter Assistant, this one's actually quite nice because it does show you how many fighters you got left on any of your carrier squadrons, and how long they're going to be up for, and how many they're down, and how long they would be before they regenerate and stuff. I like this one. It does make working out, hey, can I be providing fighter coverage with this squadron, or do I need to take out this squadron and provide the fighter coverage? It's useful in that regard. This one I find more funny because being able to see how much HP suddenly evaporates from an enemy aircraft squadron as soon as they run into a wall of your flak, that's the main reason I see it. And because seeing big numbers, big plane kills, that's always a funny one for me. Very simple about this one. It just shows you the color of your ping and your FPS. Doesn't really change anything. I just like it because it's a very easy visual thing to see in the top of the screen. Reload timer is one I've kind of got an appreciation for recently. In the past I didn't used to run it, but I like running it recently, namely because it changes the cooldown and stuff on your weapons to be purely in seconds instead of, say, a minute 25 or a minute 30. It will show you, hey, as 90 seconds. I like having an adjustable clock to go around the screen, and that shows you what the actual time is in wherever you are in the world, according to your computer. And that's just nice to have. And then you look at the watch and be like, oh shit, it is late at night, I better go to sleep. Numerical capture time, this one's useful just to work out, hey, how quickly are they capturing the enemy base. If they got one ship in it, maybe they got two ships. Being able to see, like, especially when those numbers change from, say, 30 seconds left to 15 seconds left, you know two enemy ships are in that capture circle. So I find that one quite useful for that. Similar vein, we have the travel time to capture circle, and it shows you what the time is to the center of the circle. So give or take, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds, and you'll get a rough idea how long it will take you at your current speed to get to a capture circle. Looking as well, we've also got here server population, and that's just a nice indicator there just to see how many players are on when you're currently playing a game. Useful especially if you're playing at, say, off-peak hours, just to work out how many players are on, and might help you work out, hey, can I get a higher tier game, or like, am I likely to get a lower tier game? Just working that out is just something nice to have on hand. Resources is one I've really got an appreciation with, because not only do you get to see your free experience, your gold, and your credits in your port now, but you can also see stuff like coal, steel, your research bureau points, and being able to just look at that from your port without having to go to the armory. Really quite a nice feature that I like to have. So that one I really do recommend for people. Remember how I was saying before about getting a chance to look at all ships in the tech tree before? This one simply adds every single ship in the game as an option to select in the training room. So if you want to go and head to find an enemy ship, like a particularly premium ship, because for some reason Wargaming doesn't let you take those into a training room to fight against as a bot, you can take any of those ships in, have a look, fire some like salvos against them just to work out, hey, what kind of armor they got, like where's something that I can possibly penetrate against them, all those kind of weaknesses, and that's something nice to have. If you've got a lot of ships in your port like I do, having this is quite a nice little feature to be able to quickly zip around through your port. Being able to instantly zoom to the front end or the back end of your port in a single click is something quite nice to have. If you ever get sick of trying to work out what the overmatch is of a particular ship, so instead of having to work out, oh, what's the calculation again? You got to get the gun caliber and divide it by 14.1 to get the overmatch, blah, blah, blah. Instead, just use this mod. It'll just tell you in the port for you, hey, your gun can overmatch 27mm armor. Your gun can overmatch 30mm of armor. It's just simple as that. And it makes your life, it means you don't have to do so many of these different calculations and just work out this, and that. It'll just tell you because someone's already gone to that hard effort for you. Final one that I like to use here is particularly if you're someone who does a lot of stuff with replays. For example, you might be an up-and-coming content creator. You're someone who just likes to look at all these different replays and stuff. Just make cool renders of the mini-maps and just like show your friends or something. Being able to separate your replays out properly into specific folders is quite a nice quality of life to have. And that's pretty much why I run this particular mod here. Not only, obviously, to enable replays, remove the limit that's put on the replays, because I can't remember exactly what the number is, but it will only cap a certain amount of replays automatically before it'll start overwriting the older files. So being able to save every single one is a nice thing to have, and then if you don't want them, just delete them as necessary. But being able to save them to each of the specific game patches as well is a nice feature to have. And there we go. That's every single mod that I wanted to talk about in this video. Now, we're not done, because normally in the past I'd just be like, yep, that's it guys, install, finish, and we'll be done. But just stay tuned for part 3, and that's going to come up in a minute. But I'll run through you guys in a second just what you need to do to finish the installation of all these mods. So, we've come to the end now, and you're just selecting install your mods. Basically, down the bottom, there is a button that says next or finish installation. Go here, make sure you delete all old versions of your mods. You don't need those. It's better to just do a full wipe, just make sure everything's reset. Hit next, hit install. It's going to go through this. It's going to install what needs to be installed. And you wait a minute for it to finish extracting and getting all the mods. And bada bing, bada boom. And it's done. Congratulations, you've installed all the mods that you want. Let's head on now to part 3 and talk about how to customize some of these mods inside the game client. So, as I went ahead here to actually get things set up, I kind of realized I messed it up a little bit. And the reason was I actually added a bot demo in here that, well, he's clearly moving and shooting. However, what this does give me an excuse here to do is actually show you, hey, you can see there how the speed indicator works. And as you can see, it's got a green circle around, and it's kind of showing you how fast he's actually traveling. You can see here on the screen as well, the Z52 is actually being detected. So there's that as well. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of things that are going on here, and that's part of that's when I'm holding down the Alt key, part of it's not. The nearby radars, as you can see there, that's thanks to Taro's new minimap. And as you can see, as I'm looking around, I'm holding down the Alt key, and that's just showing me all of the consumables that my Atlas can do. It's also showing you the 3D radar range, all of the hydro and stuff. Now, if that looks like a lot of lines, it is because of the fact that I've deliberately put as many of these types of ships as Z52, Worcester, etc. down, and they've got a lot of consumables on them. As you can see, you can click on each of these different options here and give them customizations. This one I've just clicked on here above the minimap, it will give you a lot of customizations for the actual minimap yourself. So if you want to go ahead, you want to mess around with all of the different icons and markers and stuff on it, feel free to go in and change some of those. Personally, I like to leave things as they are as the default. And I don't know if you've just noticed there, but as I've entered into the radar range of a Worcester, for example, you can see how the enemy ship has become red compared to orange before. I think it was even a yellow before, and you can see the actual range of how close I am to an enemy Worcester compared to his radar range, which is 9 kilometers. If you guys go ahead and you look, where is it? Top left there, yep, that's it. So the Taro, where it has the T, you can customize any of Taro's mods here. And I'm going to just pause for a second, and I'm going to give some massive praise to Taro. So in previous years, I've asked you guys to do something silly like, oh, guess what this is, or say the word cookie, I think it was, or something. This year, if you guys watch this video and you've made it up until this point, I want you guys to go ahead, and I've linked Taro's stream down below because he does stream on Twitch. I want you guys to go say thank you to Taro for all the amazing work that he's done creating some of these mods, and because he's the creator not only behind this minimap and everything, but he's also the main creator behind, say, Score Timer, Build Viewer, and all of the other ones that you can see there inside of the mod. So it's a massive thank you to Taro for all of the work that he's done, and of course to any of the other mod creators that are featured in this video. Thank you to you guys for making this game a much better experience. So thank you very much to everyone involved in that process. But yeah, as you can see there, pretty much you just click on Taro's little button there, and you can drag that around. You can do drag and drop with all of this kind of stuff. You can disable it as you like. You can customize the markers to your liking. Personally, for me, I prefer to leave them as the defaults. But if you want to go into a quick training room or something like this, set one up. And as you can see here, this is using the All Ships and Training Room mod because, for example, the K1 has a submarine that's not actually been released into the game yet. That should be coming up as like one of the monolines later this year. Shinano, for example, is a special ship which you cannot add as a normal ship into the training room. I've added it here just to show me blowing one up. So, but you've got lots of customization options, which is the awesome thing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys found this useful. If there's any questions or any concerns you guys have, do let me know down below. I'll try my best to answer them. And all I can say is if you made it all the way through this video, please consider liking the video, please consider subscribing, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody, and see you guys next time.